Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome to Holy BatCast, brought to you by real fans for real movies. You can find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you will find us. If you're a big fan of the show and you would like to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You don't have to, but if you would like to, you can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And I got to always take a moment to thank our patrons because you guys are awesome and you just really help us out. And I hope you know that it's appreciated. So thank you guys. You are the best. Anyone else who hasn't done it, it's okay. I get it. You got other things, but the option is there if you would like to. And then you can think about every episode, that little thank you, then it's about you. So you can, take that and you'll sleep well at night knowing that I appreciate you. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your bat host, Andy DeGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd. It's always just my name, Andy DeGenova. We're doing a lazy episode this week, guys, and I'm really excited about it. And by lazy, I mean no homework required. Just keep it simple because I got a lot going on in my life, which we'll talk about probably in a second. And so I was like, you know what? Me and Brendan, we're just going to get on. We're going to talk about what's happening, the latest and the greatest around the DC universe, any news, any tidbits, anything that we have heard through the grapevine. We're going to just chat. And then if there's time, we'll answer some emails. Easy. Everybody, no stress this week. It's a chill, Holy BatCast. So I already told you who's joining me. It's Brendan Lowe. Hi, Brendan.
Howdy. How are we?
I am very good. Very good. Like I said, a lot going on, but good stuff all around.
That's great to hear. So I'll apologize off the bat, no pun intended. I know I'm going to sound a bit different, a bit tinnier today. I'm not recording at home. I'm on the road, so I have my laptop and headset mic with me, not my good stand-up mic. So I apologize for the shittier sound quality.
Everyone's going to be so mad. They're going to unsubscribe. They're going to be like, this free podcast that I get to listen to. How dare Brendan?
Just because I listen to so many as well. And sometimes if someone's sound quality is pretty shit, it can,
I know.
Can make the listening experience not as good. So I'm just putting it out there and apologizing that it's not going to be like this forever. But yeah, today I'm not at home.
That's okay. I liked when you said you were on the road because I like to picture you're literally driving, but with your laptop in the passenger seat.
Remember we had a guy once who was a guest and he was recording while he was driving?
Oh my God, that does ring a bell. Yeah.
I can't remember who that was, but yeah.
We all multitask, I guess. Well, anyway, yeah, I pulled up like what's happening for DC News for us to chat about. But I think it is worth at least making the official announcement on Holy BatCast for anybody. We haven't even really gone big with our announcement on social media. We have mentioned it, but we have not gone too big. But the baby has come, Brendan. He's here.
I didn't know if you're going to address that or not.
Yeah, of course. Like our listeners are our family and they all know that Catherine and I have been waiting for the baby and he came early. He was impatient. He couldn't wait to get here. He didn't want to miss Halloween. So he came a month early to the day and it was right in the middle of the hurricane.
He also didn't want to miss the hurricane, it turns out.
Oh my God, what a night that was. Driving through a hurricane to get to the hospital and then sitting around for hours and hours and hours waiting to deliver the baby and then finally delivering him at 2:30 in the morning, 2:32 to be exact. So Andrew Thomas DeGenova Jr. was born on October 10th, 10/10 at 2:32 a.m. We did just do a junior. I know a lot of people were like, ooh, Bruce Wayne DeGenova or whatever. But I don't think I've even said this publicly. I'm named after my grandpa, Andy, and my father, Thomas, Andrew Thomas. And I wanted to pass their names down to my son. Nice. That's why he's Andrew Thomas. It's not just about me. It's about my dad. It's about my grandpa.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and as it works out, there are many Thomases in our family anyway. Mm-hmm. So Catherine's brother is Thomas. Catherine's grandpa was Thomas. Catherine's uncle is Thomas. I have an uncle Thomas. My dad was Thomas. My
grandfather's middle name was Thomas.
Yeah, so we have a lot of Thomases in the family anyway, and so I just they can all believe it's for them. But between us, you, me, and everybody listening, it's for my dad.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so he's born. He is great. He's adorable. We haven't shared pictures publicly, but I've been sending them to friends and family and Brendan. And he is.
And okay, so I don't qualify for any of those. Cool.
Well, you're somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, where does a lover qualify?
I don't, friends, family, and mistresses, which then includes you. But this is why I can never leave my wife. I'm so sorry. Not that I would ever. She's the best. Anyway, but yeah, so we haven't shared pictures or anything, but no, he is doing great. He had a rough first couple days. He did end up in the NICU. I don't know. Like I was saying before we started recording, people don't talk about this, and apparently it's much more common than I realized until I was facing it myself. And so, yeah, because he was a month early, he just needed a little help for a couple days, but now he's doing great, and he should be home in just a couple of days. And so he's doing awesome, and we're excited he's here, and we're excited he'll be here for Halloween. And I can't wait for he and Harley to meet, because they have not yet. But that one I got to get on, I got to record that. So it can't be just like off the cuff. We've got a plan. But yeah, exciting time. So again, that's why it's like, well, it's kind of weird. The baby is here, but I still can jump on and record with you this week.
That's great. Little Andy knows his place.
Yeah, he does. He does. I got to start training him to podcast early. Him and Harley.
Yeah, they got to right now.
Yeah. But no, he's doing awesome, and we're super happy. And Catherine's doing awesome. She's really recovering well, and maybe she's not resting as much as she should, but that's just who she is, and we're doing what we can. But no, we're all doing well here, and it's very exciting. So a lot going on. And so in addition to a newborn, we are also putting up our Halloween haunt, because we're doing that too.
I can't believe you're still going ahead with that, but anyway.
I can't either, but we are. So anybody who lives in the Orlando area and wants to come check out the DG Nova Haunted Pumpkin Path, it's happening again this year. Go to hauntedpumpkinpath.com. We are doing it. We spent all day today putting it up, and then we went to the hospital and spent all night with the baby. And now here I am talking to you fine people. So anyway, that's my life. That's what's going on for me. Nothing big.
Not much.
All that's fine, but I really want to get mad about the breed of dog that Krypto's going to be. I need to. You know what? My son's fine. Now let's get pissed about comic book movies.
Let's.
No, let's. I'm good. But anything? We good? Want to get into this list here, buddy?
Sure do.
Awesome. All right, here we go. Well, the first thing is more of a heads up. And honestly, if you're a Batman fan and you listen to a Batman podcast, you might already know about this heads up, but it was one of those things that I even forgot about until it came out last week. And that is the new novel, Batman Resurrection by John Jackson Miller. I knew it was coming. I remember when it was announced, and I just forgot when it was coming because I was freaking waiting for a baby. So, priorities. And then it came out last week, and me, you, and Joe and Eric, they were like, oh, that comes out today. And I was like, oh, cool. I got to go on and buy it. And turns out I had already bought it. Turns out I had pre-ordered it. I just forgot I had pre-ordered it. And so it was right there in my Kindle ready to go. I did go with the Kindle, the electronic version, because I'm a terrible person and I just don't need another thing on my shelves. But yeah, so it was just funny because I went to buy it, and instead I saw a notification from Amazon that I got charged for $14.99. I'm like, what the hell did I buy for $14.99? I got hacked. And then I looked and I was like, oh, actually I pre-ordered Batman Resurrection. Just forgot. What about you, Brendan? Did you buy it? Did you pre-order it?
Well, if you remember correctly, about a month and a half ago, I posted in Real Fans and in our group chat about this book coming out, and I'm like, how did I not know about this? This is huge.
Oh,
this is awesome.
Yeah.
And
we all were like, we knew.
I'm like, well, I don't remember it. Like I was blown away. So I did pre-order it, but it's not released here until the 15th of November. I think, I mean, if I wanted to get the Kindle version, I think I could do that. Like, I think it's one of those things that physical's not released here for a couple more weeks, but like the audio book and the Kindle version, I could get now. But this one, I do want to get like the nice hard copy version of to hold in my hands to read it.
No, I respect that and I get it.
So yeah, and I haven't said anything on here, but this last 12 months, I've really gotten into reading like pretty hardcore. Like I would have been lucky to read maybe 4 or 5 novels every 2 years for God knows how long, but I'm up to like close to 40 novels that I know that to a lot of people that might not be much, but I've read 40 novels so far this year, and it keeps growing. So
I mean that's really good. That's more than one a week.
yeah, so I'm getting there. So I do want to physically have this one, but I did listen to the Batman book club episode this week that had the author on it, and just hearing some of the things that are going to be brought up in this book and kind of what it's about. It's very spoiler free, so if you do want to listen to it and haven't read the book yet, check it out because it got me excited for it even more. So yeah, I pre-ordered my hard copy the other day. And should be getting it mid-November. I can't wait to read it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean my plan is to read it while I'm on paternity leave cuz ironically the last time I was on paternity leave with Harley, that was when I read that prequel book for the Batman.
Oh, that was a short read. That one. That was
Yeah, that was pretty quick, but I read it in the middle of the night
yeah.
dealing with Harley. And so yeah, we'll see what happens with this, but that's my plan to read Resurrection is to do it
And
some over the leave.
the thing that I'm really excited about, and I don't think I'm talking out of school here. I don't know. I was a little let down by the Batman '89 comic. That first run, it didn't. It started off really strong, and then like I know the delays didn't help, but it kind of lost me a little bit. It wasn't. It didn't give me what I was hoping it would.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even started reading. Is it Echoes? Is the second one just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
the major delays? I'm just going to wait till that becomes a trade to read it. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping this will scratch the itch that the Batman '89 comic just didn't quite do for me.
Well, and I'll tell you right now because I have been reading Echoes. The first one was better, so
Wow. Okay.
take that as you will. I haven't read the latest Echoes, so maybe
Is it
that
still
one.
Sam Hamm?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's better with the latest issue, which I have not read. But yeah, I was a little let down too. I liked the first one. Echoes is okay.
I said I didn't hate it. It just
Yeah,
wasn't what I was looking for.
yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Resurrection. I'm not a big novel reader, but this is how you get me to read one. And so
Yeah.
yeah, when we both get a chance to read it, let's do this again and we can review it.
Yeah. Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
All right. Something else that we reviewed pretty recently was Joker Folie à Deux.
That we did.
We did. We did. That movie is out there. That movie got made and that movie got released to theaters. And my hunch is it's not going to be in theaters much longer.
Nope.
So it had a crazy 82% drop from week 1 to week 2, which is
82. Holy
which
hell.
is nuts. Yeah, it opened at 37 million. On its second weekend, it made 7 million.
Holy shit. I didn't realize. Like, I knew it had a big drop, but I hadn't seen the figures. Like, it made
Yeah.
7 million in America.
Yeah. And it went from number 1 to number 4, and it was beat on its second weekend by Beetlejuice, which was in its fifth week and
And
released on
already hit
PVOD.
digital? Yeah.
uh, which is crazy. So yeah, the toxic word of mouth is not, it certainly has taken its effect. It's taken its toll. And Joker 2 is dead on arrival. And they've already admitted it. they've basically it's coming out digitally October 29th, which is what, a week and a half
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
10 days. So
And it'll
it'll
be
be on
what, three
digital.
weeks? 3 weeks since it opened, or four?
It's
Three,
4,
four.
almost 4. Yeah. So it's 4 weeks, which again isn't. It's not like somewhere it's like 2 weeks, but
Yeah,
it's still, that's very quick. And then I think it hits disc December 9th is what I saw. And so I'm sure it'll be on Max in time for Christmas.
that'll be the pick me up that you want with the family for the festive season.
Yeah, well, like after you open all your presents and you're just chilling out with the family in your pajamas, pop on Joker Folie à Deux for some family fun. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like I said on our review episode, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I'm not happy to see it fail, but I'm also not sad. I'm just fascinated by what has happened
Oh,
here
it's
because
yeah. I
this,
hope there's a documentary about it one day, or like something. I don't know, because it's what a fall from grace. Like that first movie was such a. I mean, it was an unexpected hit, but it was a massive hit, and
yeah,
there was buzz and there was hype going into it. Whereas this one, there was. I kept forgetting it was coming out, and like I said in the last episode, I really liked the first one. I was one of the people who's like, "Man, this is really good. I hope it wins all the awards." Um, yeah, wow, it's bizarre.
yeah, and again, that's where I'm looking at it from, just a place of curiosity of like, wow, like who saw this coming? Nobody, no one saw this coming. A month ago, this felt like a sure thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, and right now, everybody's pointing fingers and everybody's trying to read the tea leaves and decide why it failed. But yeah, you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and this just didn't work. So be it. Oh well. It is. I don't even want to say funny because I don't want. I don't want to like. I'm not. Again, I am not celebrating its demise because I don't care. Um, but going into this year, I was like, well, there's no DC movies this year, and and it's like, well, what about Joker 2? And I was like, does it really count as a DC movie? And now that it came out, it's like, yeah, does it really count as a DC
Does it count
movie?
as
I
a
don't know.
movie?
Yeah, like, so I feel a little bit vindicated of being like, no, there's no DC movies in 2024 because this one, and I would barely count it. And then then there's like been these reports about Todd Phillips didn't want to talk to James Gunn or Peter Safran, didn't want DC involved at all. And it's like, well, yeah, because he wasn't really making a
Yeah,
DC movie proper, right? He was just kind of doing his thing. So I don't find that to be scandalous, and it doesn't
I
in
don't
any.
find that to be news. Like, yeah, no
Yeah.
shit.
So anyway, it's just interesting. But as of today, and I doubt it'll go higher than this. Domestically, here in North America, it's just made about $55 million. Internationally, it's done 113. So worldwide, it's at 168. Um, Reports are that it needs to make 450 to break even. I
Wow.
even think that is suspect because with a $200 million budget and a $100 million marketing budget, it probably would have to make 600, but they're saying 450. I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from, but whatever. Regardless, it ain't hitting 400. It's certainly not hitting 450, and it ain't going to hit 600.
It's going to
So,
be lucky to hit two.
yep. So it's it will be lucky to make its production budget only worldwide.
Wow. Again, I mean, I take away the salaries of the people involved. Um, it doesn't look more expensive than the first movie.
It looks less expensive than the first movie. Don't you think? I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean,
being.
some of the musical stuff, I guess, but overall, like,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
This was not responsible spending. Let's just say that.
no. And like I said in the last episode, I really hope that they learn the right lesson here, but they won't.
No, they won't. So, well, for anybody out there who's been waiting, um, it'll be on digital in a week and a half. You can enjoy it then. I've had quite a few people say, "Hey, like, what'd you think?" And I was like, "I didn't like it." I'm like, but to be fair, I was not a huge fan of the first one either. So, but then people are like, "Well, should I at least watch it on Max?" And I'm like, not, no, like, not really. There's really nothing you need to see. That's how I feel. I don't know if you feel the same.
If I could have my time again as someone who, like I've said, really liked the first one. Although, it's same as everyone who likes it. It's not a film I revisit very often because it's a depressing, dark couple of hours. Um, but yeah, if I had my time over and didn't have to watch it for a podcast, I wish I hadn't, because I don't know if I'll ever watch the first one again now, to be honest, just because I know where it's going to go and I know what the next chapter looks like. Whereas I really liked that ending, and was it in his head? Wasn't it? You could make up your own mind. It was a standalone piece, but now it's just half of a whole, and the second half of it's rotten. It's already gone off, as you said, dead on arrival.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Well, you know what sequel might be a little more satisfying?
Tell me.
It's a comic book sequel. We're getting a sequel to Hush, the landmark DC story by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee.
That does excite me slightly.
Me too. It was one of those things. So right now, this weekend is New York Comic Con. So we getting a little bit of news, a little bit of info from New York Comic Con, which is fun. Nothing earth shattering, but I'll take whatever tidbit I can get. And this was one that, in my opinion, kind of came out of nowhere. And I went, it's weird that we've not had that. And that's exciting that they're doing it. So I'm into it. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee are returning with some additional creative support, but a sequel to Hush. I love Hush, so I'm all for it.
Look, love the idea. Hate the logo.
I agree. It's really bad.
Terrible.
It's so bad. It's like, and they put it on a T-shirt. I'm like, I would never wear that. No. Yeah, that's just silliness.
H2.
Yeah, it's like Halloween H2O.
Yeah.
Hush H2. Shh.
Yeah. Well, I'm cautiously optimistic about it because it's one of those things. It is such a landmark story, and when I first got back into comics in 2005, it was Year One and Hush. They were the two stories that got me back in. I'm like, holy hell, these are amazing, and it's something I reread every couple of years. It's always fantastic. We've had slightly changed as they were, but a pretty decent, animated adaptation and everything for it. So it's just one of those things. There's a lot of hype and a lot of quality to live up to these, 20, 21 something years later.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're up to it because it's a big ask.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And yeah, if they'd have done it 10 years later, I think there would have been a lot less pressure. But you're right, because they've waited so long and this news has taken a lot of us by surprise. It's exciting, but yeah, now they've got high expectations. I hope they're ready for.
Mm. And my curiosity too is will it factor in Heart of Hush?
I don't think I ever read that one.
It's Paul Dini, so it's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
And I think, wasn't there a Hush Returns or something like?
Maybe
So there have been sequels to it, just not the same creative team. I think Hush Returns from memory is not.
I'm glad you said that because I am sure there's someone at home when I said, I can't believe they never made a sequel. I'm sure there's someone at home that was like, what about Heart of Hush? And I completely forgot about that.
There have been sequels, but again, different creative team. But it'd be interesting if they treat those as canon or if this is going to be its own, its own thing. But from memory, Heart of Hush is good because it's Dini. It was when Dini was doing Detective. It was Paul Dini and I want to say Dustin Nguyen did the art.
Oh, cool. Well, exciting. Thank you for the reminder. I do appreciate that. And Hush too. That is one that I will go out of my way to read because
I will.
Like we say, especially with new comics, sometimes we're not always on top of it, but Hush 2 feels like it would be an event and I'm into it.
I just hope it's not like other comics in the past where Jim Lee is attached to be the artist. Mm-hmm. And then because he's Jim Lee and so busy and essentially running DC Comics now, issues get delayed or somebody else does art for issue whatever, and hopefully it's planned well in advance, and the issues can drop as they're supposed to, so people don't lose interest.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we shall see.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is one thing that is not delayed that we are going to be seeing so quick before we even know it. You're going to go to sleep tonight. Tomorrow morning, you're going to watch it. That's what's going to feel like. Creature Commandos coming our way December 5th. It's going to be December before we even know it. And at New York Comic Con, they premiered, a new trailer, a full trailer for Creature Commandos. James Gunn was actually there, which is cool. And actually, I need to make a note of that. James Gunn made some nice comments that I do want to talk about. So I forgot to put that on my list. Here we go. But we got a full trailer for Creature Commandos. We get a little more of the characters, the animation, the action, the gore, all those things, just in time for it to come our way on Max on December 5th. So what'd you think of the trailer for Creature Commandos?
It looks fun. It looks like a good time. And it looks like I'll enjoy it. But it just, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like an animated version of his Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
that's how it felt to me. It very much feels like a spiritual sequel to that than the launching of a new universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which brings me to my second little issue. Is just like, it's a weird way to launch a new universe. Like I said in our group chat, it's very niche, and I know that they know it's niche, but to me, it's just like, it's a brand new DC universe. Why are you doing a soft launch for it? Because this isn't going to get, the mass public watching it. It's a streaming cartoon, like I said, that looks and is very niche. It's very, very much for adults, so it's not accessible to younger audiences. When Superman is coming out in the middle of next year, it's going to be a huge deal, and everyone's like, well, that's the real kickoff to the new universe. It's like, yeah, it should be. Like, that should be the launch of the new universe, not some weird obscure cartoon that's going on a streaming service. Yeah, I don't know. I've always felt a bit iffy, for lack of a better term, than that Creature Commandos is technically the starting point for this new universe. Like, characters that are more obscure than some of the characters that were in his Suicide Squad movie. Again, it doesn't have, to me, mass appeal to the public. I would have waited.
Okay. All right, I got some notes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would have waited till I would have just started with Superman, and then once the ball's rolling, slip that in there.
Yeah. That's fair, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't think any of that is unfair. I get it. I think, well, let's say I'm much more interested, I think, in the premise of Creature Commandos than you are, just because I'm such a whore for monsters. And so I think that
you are that.
I am. So I think I'm also just more prone to be more excited about this because, yeah, it's Suicide Squad, but with monsters, and just that enough. I'm like, I'm into that. I think the trailer is a lot of fun. I think the animation looks great. It's funny. I think I saw a headline before I watched the trailer where it said something about R-rated violence. And for the first half of the trailer, I'm like, oh, I guess it's violent, but like, I don't know if it's R-rated. And then there's the scene where like these heads start getting blown up and like eyeballs flying out. And I was like, oh, there it is. Okay. Found it. So much like I felt about the Harley Quinn animated series, I'm like, I don't know if you needed to make this so R-rated. I'm not a prude, but also I'm like, it doesn't need to be this. But then I ended up loving the Harley Quinn series, so I'm hoping the same thing will happen here. But before I have seen the show, I don't know if you needed this to be a hard R the way it seems like it's going to be, but that's what they did. So be it. I'm going to roll with it, and hopefully it won't matter. But I think it looks like a ton of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. I understand your point about is this being the first thing that's released of this new universe. But I definitely agree. The real launch of the universe is Superman in July. It really is. That's the one that, it's a big tentpole movie right smack dab in the middle of the summer. It's going to be an event. Hopefully it delivers. But that all eyeballs will be on Superman come July. This to me feels like a little appetizer of like, hey, we know you don't want to wait till July. Here's something to tide you over until then. This is the appetizer while you're waiting to be seated at the restaurant, and I'm down with that because, like you said, yes, it's more niche, it's more obscure, so this isn't something that everyone is going to be aware of, but it's something for the fans to enjoy in the meantime, especially because right now we are in a bit of a DC content quiet time. We had Joker 2. We just talked about that. There's the Penguin, but like there hasn't been a big movie this year, and it's been except Joker 2. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been kind of quiet. Let's just say that. It's been quiet with DC media this year, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's nice to have this to end the year out as we go into the next year. But when you said, like it's obscure and I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but something to the effect of that, not every niche. That's what it was. You said it has niche appeal, and I understand why you would say that, but like I would have said that before Peacemaker came out. Of like you're doing a Peacemaker series, like of all the people who were in the Suicide Squad, I didn't really want a show about him, but that's what you're giving me. And then that show ended up being great and became a huge hit because people loved it. So I was like, so you never know, I guess is my point. Yes, it's animation, so animation also can skew differently, but you just never know. And I'm excited about it as a fan. And then, yeah, I wouldn't put too much weight on it as the true launch of the new DCU, especially because, to your point, and I totally agree, it feels like a sequel to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So it also is like, even though it is the first project of the DCU, for the casual viewer, it's also very easy for them to just relate it to the Suicide Squad. I don't think the casual viewer is going to go, well, this is setting the tone for the new DC universe on film, so you better win me over with this R-rated animated series about monsters, because if you don't, I'm out. I'm not going to see Superman. So I'm into it. I'm looking forward to it. And again, it's a nice little treat as far as I'm concerned to get at the end of the year while we're waiting for July, because we all know that's the main event.
I tell you what, though, James Gunn is Gretchen Wieners and Weasel is Fetch. He's really trying to make Weasel happen.
That's fair. Yeah. I think that's right. Because even in the Suicide Squad, I was like, I didn't really care about Weasel then either. But you're right. He's really bound and determined to try to make it
on Weasel.
I guess so. You know what? Everybody's got their pet projects. I don't know if I'm with him on that, but we'll see.
Like I said at the top, it does look like a fun show. I am going to check it out. It was just, I just have my reservations about the plan. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
I am much more into Bride and Frankenstein, obviously, because that's my jam.
Yes.
But I think they both look awesome. I'm bummed that there's not a werewolf in there, but I'll get over it. But the characters that are in there, again, just what we see in this trailer, you get a much better idea of who they are and what their personalities are. And they look like really fun characters, and I'm looking forward to it. It seems like I'm sorry, I already forgot the name, but like kind of the underwater creature gal, her.
Oh, yeah, yep.
It seems like she's almost like a pacifist, and so she's like surrounded by all these really crazy violent monsters, and she's out of her depth, if you will, in that she's like doesn't really want to fight, but she's stuck there. So I just think it seems like there's already some fun personality dynamics at play.
Yeah. No, like I said, the show itself doesn't look bad. I have no problem with the show. It's just where it's landing that's sort of making me scratch my head a bit.
Yeah.
Like so I was of that mindset before we saw the trailer anyway. I've always, since they announced the slate, I've always been like, really? That's what you're starting with? Okay.
Well, I mean, it was the furthest along, right? I'm curious as to when Peacemaker will come out. Oh, this is not on my list, but thankfully we were talking and I just remembered it was like last week, James Gunn posted a photo of the back of a man, mostly in silhouette. It looked like he was in front of a campfire, and it was for Peacemaker. And he said something of, "Can you guess who this is?" Did you see that?
I did.
It appears to be a Native American man, and so the prevalent theory is that it could be Apache Chief.
Yes,
Are
I
you
did see that.
are you
I'm.
familiar with Apache Chief?
Wasn't he in like one of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons?
Yes, he was in the one of the Super Friends versions.
Because that's what I know him from.
Yep, that's where he comes from.
Okay.
He was invented. It was whenever, again, Super Friends went through so many iterations, but it was the iteration where they introduced Apache Chief, Samurai, Black Vulcan, and El Dorado.
Right.
Because they were trying to have more diversity. So
Mm-hmm.
they introduced a more diverse slate. And that's where Apache Chief came from. I believe he eventually came back and showed up in the comics, but I hope that's him. I guess is what I'm getting at. I hope that's him because that's so James Gunn. And also I'm here for it. If Apache Chief shows up in Peacemaker, count me in. I love it. But now you got to do the other ones. Do them all.
I guess so.
So yeah, anyway, it's not confirmed, but it was a fun tease nonetheless. And I can't imagine who else it would be though. I can't think of any other like Native American characters of note that we would guess it would be.
No.
I just can't. So anyway, we'll see. But well, there was one. I want to say his name was Black Condor, but I feel like he came and went real quick. But again, I wouldn't put it past James Gunn to be like, "Hey, remember this character who had his own comic for 1 year in 1991? I'm putting him to Peacemaker." So anyway, we shall see. But I'm down for Apache Chief. I am also curious as to when Peacemaker is coming because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
To my previous point, season 1, I went in being like, I guess I'll watch it, and I loved it, and so I'm really looking forward to season 2. Well, that's already in production, but something that's about to start production is Lanterns. And we discussed it, I think, briefly last time in the mailbox, if I remember correctly, but they're really gearing up for production, which is really exciting. So we already knew that Kyle Chandler has been cast as Hal Jordan. That is now confirmed. It was not quote unquote confirmed when we talked about it initially,
Yeah,
but
I don't think so.
everyone knew, but now it's official. But now we have a Jon Stewart and we also have a director. The director is James Hawes. I didn't know him by name, but he's done a lot of well-received TV. So he did Penny Dreadful, he did The Mist, he did Black Mirror, Snowpiercer. So he's done a lot of very good sci-fi-ish TV, stylized TV. So again, not being super familiar with his work, when you look at his resume, I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see that. And much like I've said in the past, is to me the most exciting thing is they hired a director, means they're gearing up. Can't be far now. I don't know if you have any thoughts on James Hawes.
No, I don't think I've seen any of those shows. So I'm good.
Okay, well, great. More excitingly, we have Jon Stewart. And so actor Aaron Pierre is cast as Jon Stewart. He is someone else I am not familiar with. Fun fact, apparently he was in Krypton.
Which I didn't watch a second of.
And I forgot Krypton was a thing until someone pointed it out. I think it was Joe or Eric was like, oh, and it's legacy casting because he was on Krypton. And I was like, oh yeah, Krypton. Oh yeah. I watched the first episode, maybe 2. It was fine, but it was just one of those where I was like, it wasn't good enough for me to like make it appointment television. But yeah, he was on that for 20 episodes, so he actually was on it quite a bit.
Yeah,
but
I didn't care enough to watch that.
That's fine. I mean, the coolest things were the pictures I saw of Brainiac and Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
They looked cool. but that's really it. But I guess his big breakout was Rebel Ridge, which I have not seen, but apparently it was extremely well received earlier this year. And everyone who saw it said, oh my God, this guy is one to watch.
I saw it. I saw it the week it
Oh,
came out. It
oh,
wasn't.
did
It was
you?
only. It was in August. So it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, really?
It might have even been early September. I can't remember. But it's
Oh,
fair.
it was recent?
Yeah, it's somewhat recent. Yeah, for sure.
I gotta look. Oh, you're right. Holy shit, it was only September. My bad. Yeah.
I'm just looking at my. Yeah, I watched it on the 9th of September, and I watched it like the first week it was out. So.
Oh, well, my bad. I thought for some reason I thought it was like the spring.
And look, he's really good in it. I thought the movie was really entertaining. I didn't love the ending. It sort of left me wanting a bit more. But yeah, really solid performance by him though. And when I heard he was cast, I was just like, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, I honestly hadn't even heard of Rebel Ridge. It sounded vaguely familiar, but whatever, it got lost in the shuffle. But as soon as this was announced, a lot of people said essentially what you said, which is, oh, he was very good in that, so I absolutely understand why he's the one who got the job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. That's great to hear. And I guess James Gunn was paying attention too. So Aaron Pierre is our John Stewart. Certainly has very piercing eyes that will look really cool if they glow green.
Yes.
But we'll see. One can hope. That was what struck me as I was like, oh my God, those eyes, they're like intense. They're great. So it's good to hear that he was very good in that movie. It's exciting that now we've got our two leads and, we'll see what comes next, but they're moving right along and gearing up.
Yeah. Again, this is another project I'm cautiously optimistic about. I'm excited about the prospect of a Green Lantern show. I'm not excited about the prospect of True Detective with Green Lanterns in it.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, so
Yeah.
I understand that. Here's something that's interesting, and I don't know how much to pay any attention to it, but when I knew we were going to talk about it, I pulled up the IMDb page just so I could remember James Hawes's name mostly. But I clicked on full cast and crew, and it says Aaron Pierre is John Stewart, 8 episodes. And then it says Kyle Chandler, Hal Jordan, 1 episode.
Huh. Interesting.
Again, don't know if that means anything, or is he just going to show up at the beginning to kick it off, and then it's a John Stewart show?
But that's not how they've sold it.
I agree. Yeah. Weird, huh?
Very. Yeah, watch this space, I guess.
Yeah, so it was just a weird thing I noticed when I pulled it up. I was like, why would they say that? But again, I know people can update IMDb, and so you can't always take it as truth. So it could be nothing, or someone knows more than we do.
Yeah. Hopefully the latter. Sorry, the former. The former.
Right, because I want Hal and John together.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, Lanterns is coming, and we'll hear more when they start production. Just when they do, just give us a nice reveal photo of Hal and John in their suits so we can stop worrying.
Mm-hmm. And don't let it be a spy pic if it is the case. Like,
yeah.
Just release a goddamn photo. Don't do
a nice reveal so we can all get excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the first shot of Superman putting his boot on was cool, but it's like, well, yeah, we've already seen this. We've been seeing it for like 2 weeks. Like with spy pics and stuff, so... Anyway.
Yeah. Get ahead of it. But Lanterns, we'll find out more when it goes into production. But something that we learned also at New York Comic Con, and I think this was one of just these off-the-cuff comments that James Gunn made, because he did say, like, oh, Lanterns, it's going great, and we're really excited. And then he said Supergirl is going great with Craig, and whoever the writer of Supergirl is, I already forgot her name. But he name-dropped the writer and the director of Supergirl, saying it's going great, but he also said it is starting production in January in the UK. So they start filming first of the year. They are really raring to go, which again, really exciting.
Look, I'm looking forward to seeing Supergirl on the big screen. Obviously, I know we got that last year to a degree, but it was an Elseworlds thing, and this is going to be Supergirl proper. Um, Again, cautiously optimistic, and I say that because when James Gunn announced the slate, and it was announced that there was going to be a Supergirl movie and the comic it was going to be based on, I, like many people, I assume, went to read the comic, and I couldn't get through it. It was a weird story with ugly art. So,
Mm,
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Supergirl. Hopefully, I like the story.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. I still haven't read it, but I have heard that is that the story, it can be love it or hate it. Tom King, that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is just an odd story to choose for like the first, well, not the first solo Supergirl movie. We had one in the 80s, but for this new Supergirl movie. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. I am excited, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Well, we're going to see Supergirl on the big screen. We're going to see Superman on the big screen, but now confirmed, even though it was already heavily rumored, but we have confirmation that we're also going to see Krypto on the big screen.
Yes.
Krypto the Superdog. So a couple days ago, James Gunn posted on his social media channels. He posted, Krypto arrives on screens in Superman this summer. Krypto was inspired by our dog Ozu, who we adopted shortly after I started writing Superman. Ozu, who came from a hoarding situation in a backyard with 60 other dogs and never knew human beings, was problematic to say the least. He immediately came in and destroyed our home, our shoes, our furniture. He even ate my laptop. Took a long time before he would even let us touch him. I remember thinking, gosh, how difficult would life be if Ozu had superpowers? And thus, Krypto came into the script and changed the shape of the story as Ozu was changing my life. What better time to debut the not so good boy Krypto than Adopt a Shelter Dog Month? By the way, Ozu today is fairly often a very good boy. So it was Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, which is why he posted this. And he also posted it with an awesome photo, in my opinion. We'll just say,
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful photo.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad you agree because I love it. Of Superman sitting with Krypto on the moon, looking down on Earth.
Yeah, gorgeous image, and the way Krypto's got like his little ear cocked and stuff, like, yeah, really, really beautiful. It would be my phone background were it not Halloween season.
Yeah. So not only did we get confirmation of Krypto, but we get a new image of Superman and Krypto, and the image is gorgeous. And then, yeah, I think a day later they did release like the phone wallpaper versions, which I think is really cool.
Uh-huh.
So, how you feeling about Krypto? You already said that you love the image, but how you feeling in general?
Yeah, good. Like, I'm really excited about this movie. All the little tidbits that we've seen of it so far. I'm hoping, I could be wrong, I don't know. I'd like there to be a little teaser trailer before the end of the year. Um, I don't know if that'll happen. I'm still of the mindset of the Dark Knight trilogy days and Man of Steel and stuff like that, where you'd get a teaser sort of towards that November December time, and then the full trailer would sort of come, February March, and then you get a second trailer around that April May, before the July release. So I would love there to be like, and even if it was just a teaser, like a 30-second, because some teasers these days, they call it a teaser and it's 2.5 minutes. It's like,
Right.
that's not a teaser. That's a friggin' trailer.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with just a teaser, like, 20 seconds of footage and a logo, and then, June 2025. I'd be happy with that. I'd love to see something before the end of the year.
Well, honestly, something akin to the Man of Steel teaser. That was a true teaser.
Yes.
Yeah, where it was just the images of the grass and the fields and the swing and the butterfly, and you don't even realize it's a Superman movie until that last shot. Yeah, something like that. That's just gives you a sense of the tone, and Superman's coming back. He's coming back in July. Like, yeah, I'd
Mhm.
be totally into that.
Yep.
Well, James Gunn did say also at New York Comic Con, he said it won't be long before you get a Superman trailer, but it won't be soon either.
Okay.
um, so here's my guess. I'm going to put my money down, and I'm always right. So don't worry, this is going to pan out great. I think Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I mean, obviously you can do the play on words as well.
Yeah.
But I again, I'd love to see a teaser now, because if you remember, we got in terms of footage a teaser for the Flash
Hmm.
in 2022, but then we didn't get that first trailer until the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So yeah, just again, 20 seconds, James. Just give us something.
No, I would love it too. I'm with you. I'm my guess is he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait for the new year, but I could be wrong. And honestly, I kind of hope I am because yeah, I want it now.
Yeah,
I don't know if WB has like a big holiday release this year.
I'm not sure.
I know, right? Me either. I'm like, I feel like the big holiday movies coming out this year are Moana, Wicked, The Lion King, Mufasa. um, but I don't know if WB's got one.
Who's
I
doing
gotta.
what one?
I don't know.
Just trying to see.
I bet you. Let me see. Oh,
I
here.
don't think it's Warner.
Oh, you guys suck. What do they have? Oh well, I don't know about that. They have the Lord of the Rings anime movie
Oh,
in December, but I just don't know how.
Red One's Amazon.
Okay, so it seems like that's their big December release. Is the Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim, and I am a Lord of the Rings super fan, and I'm not gonna go see this because it
Well,
just looks way too anime
I was going to
and
say
not enough Lord of the Rings.
that's going to recoup the money that Joker 2 lost.
Yeah. I was excited too when I first heard. I was like, oh, Lord of the Rings animated movie, that's fun. And then I saw the trailer. I was like, oh man, no, I don't know about this. But yeah. So anyway, I guess inconclusive if they have anything else really coming out for the holidays that it would make sense to put a Superman teaser before.
Mm. Ah, well.
Well, we'll wait and see. But what about Krypto on the big screen? Are you excited about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know it's not the same, but I didn't get to see Legion. Was it Legion of Super Pets? League of Super Pets? Um,
Yeah,
I didn't get to see that at cinema, so I haven't seen Crypto on the big screen before. But just to see Crypto in live action would be really cool as well.
I know. Like, I think it's really fun. And again, feels very James Gunn. I had seen rumors for a while now. Have you? I assume, right, that Krypto would show up in the movie.
I hadn't.
So I don't know I don't remember where I saw them. I don't remember where they came from. Point is even when there was those rumors or murmurs that Krypto might be in it, I went, it's James Gunn. I would fully expect he would put Krypto in the movie. And it's interesting that he decided to announce it early. But again,
You
it
know,
feels very much part of his sensibilities, and I'm all for it. Again, it's a much uh it just feels like a much warmer and fuzzier
yes,
Superman.
that's what I was just about to say. This movie seems to be going out of its way to be bright and happy and upbeat, that we haven't had from a Superman movie in a decade or more. So it does fit that aesthetic, and it
Yeah.
makes sense for this version of Superman. Although, did you see the memes going around of like Zack Snyder's Krypton, and it was like a German Shepherd carrying an AK-47?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Um and for the record, we like Zack Snyder, we like his movies.
Yes, yes, yes,
It's just a
yes.
joke. But yeah, so yeah, it works out for me. And then he looks like a little shaggier than we normally picture Krypto.
Yeah, it's
Apparently
kind of
some
more like a golden retriever, Labrador, that kind of dog. But
Yeah. And like, I guess some fans are mad about this, but I'm like, he looks like Krypto. He's just, he's just not as clean shaven, I guess. But yeah, it was just funny that I'd seen a little bit of that of why doesn't he look like this? But I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I like the image a lot. And I've seen a lot of fan made posters using the image, and it works that way too. It's that good of an image that you could just slap Superman July 11th on it, and it feels like a movie poster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. And so then James Gunn was there at New York Comic Con talking, and he said something very interesting. Oh crap! I lost it. Where'd it go? Anyway, he was talking about just the slate, and he was talking about the things that he's doing, including Superman, Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, and he basically said, like, they're all very different. They're very distinct. Creature Commandos is its own thing, and Peacemaker's its own thing, and Superman's its own thing. So even though it's a connected universe, we're not imposing any sort of overall aesthetic. So he is allowing the freedom for each project to feel very much distinctive on their own terms. And that's when he said, yeah, Lanterns is going great with that team, and Supergirl's going great with that team, and everything's going really well. And his enthusiasm is infectious as always, but the bottom line is, even though these things are connected, they are not all going to feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you feeling about that?
I mean, I like that it gives directors and stuff creative freedom. Because we've all heard the stories and we've seen directors walk away from Marvel because the studio have too much say, I guess. But the other side of that is you can when you're watching a Marvel movie. You can tell you're watching a Marvel movie because they all feel somewhat the same. I love that it does give like I said, the creative teams the freedom that they want to be able to make their version of these characters and stuff. I just don't want it to feel too disjointed either. There's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere, and I'd like for this universe to be that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and overall, I think it's very good. I appreciate that James Gunn doesn't want every project to feel like a James Gunn project,
Mm-hmm.
because you want different flavors and different takes and different tastes, and I think that works. Honestly, I feel like the previous Connected Universe did that pretty well too.
It
Is
did.
that even though Zack Snyder started that universe, a lot of those other projects don't feel like Zack Snyder movies, but they can still be connected. The Wonder Woman movies had their own tone. The Aquaman movies had their own tone. Birds of Prey had a very different tone, but it all could still be part of the same universe. So I feel like it's nice that we have seen that everything doesn't have to look and feel the same to be connected. And I'm glad that that lesson seems to be continuing with this new universe too.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I liked that. I liked just hearing the quick update, even if there were no real details, just of things are going great and he's really excited about it. And Superman, Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, Lantern, Supergirl, all that, we're moving right along.
Not much talk of Batman, which makes you raise an eyebrow. Like they seem to be,
So yeah,
they
that
seem
was
to
my
be
next
waiting
note here.
on that. Like,
Yeah. My next note is we don't know what's moving ahead for Batman. And I don't know if you saw this, but maybe this was a week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I think it might have been 2. It was a little while ago. We didn't really address it on the show because it's just murmurs, it's rumors. We don't know how real any of it is because I don't even think it got picked up by any of the big trades, but there were rumors that David Zaslav is getting impatient for having Batman in the shared universe. Did you see
mm-hmm.
this?
No.
So, yeah, this was the rumor. The rumor is Zaslav is impatient. He wants Batman as part of a shared universe as soon as possible. And so that could mean getting the Brave and the Bold moving quicker than anticipated, like getting it moving now. Or it could mean trying to fold Pattinson
This I did hear.
Yes. So again, it was just a rumor, and we've had other things to talk about. But when we're doing just sort of a catch up on what's happening, it's at least fun to speculate as fans, as like, okay, let's just say this is possible. How do we feel about it? What are the odds? Because the reason I know about it is a couple of listeners sent it to me going, Andy, do you know anything about this? And the answer is no, I don't. I know nothing about it. But I can use my intuition and my past knowledge to make some assumptions and some hypotheses as to what might be true. Um, but yeah, I'm curious as to your thoughts first.
I think you know what I'm going to say. um, Look, the buzzword for that epic crime saga is grounded. Superman and Krypto and Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific. Who else have I forgotten? Um,
That's a
they
good
are
start.
they are very far from grounded.
Mm.
I just said that Superman seems to be going out of its way to be bright and light and happy and for everyone. Um, the Batman makes Zack Snyder stuff look bright and happy and chipper. So it it's not. My thought is it's not going to happen. Period. But Zaslav, if that's what he wants to do, I mean, there's a lot of things that he's done that's made me go, he needs to F off rather quickly. If he wants to try and crowbar that version of Batman into this universe, he's absolutely insane. It is to the detriment of both those franchises if that were to happen. And if I were Matt Reeves, again, my feelings of that first movie aside, we all know how I stand on it, or where I stand on it, I should say. I'd be pissed if I was Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the very strong rumor after Man of Steel that they were going to
They were trying to get Bale.
they were going to back the truck up for Bale and Nolan to come back, and you know what? That made more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because those two worlds weren't that far apart. It was a somewhat realistic take on Superman and him being the first superpowered character and everything, to come into the world, and how would the world react to that? Bale's Batman did suit that pretty well, I thought. This makes no sense, though. This is categorically a bad idea on every level.
All right, I agree overall. I think the thing is there are multiple options to get Zaslav what he allegedly wants, which is he wants Batman in a shared universe sooner than later. And the other piece that they said is it was to quote unquote compete with Marvel. That's a weird comment, especially based on what's happening with Marvel right now. But maybe it was because
everything competes with Marvel. It's a DC universe. It's going to compete with Marvel just because they're the competitors in the comic world.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like what is going on with Marvel at this moment that he's jealous of, and the only thing I think of is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
is because Deadpool and Wolverine was such a massive hit. Was that him going, well, I want one of those? And maybe that's where he's like, well, that's why I need a Batman with a Superman, and I need it now. I need it yesterday. Who knows? But that's just me speculating. But I think that the odds of them trying to fold Pattinson's Batman into a shared universe are 0.001. I had nothing is impossible, but I just think the odds are so minimal that this could even be an option for a number of reasons, many of which you already touched on. The fact that part of the deal was that Matt Reeves could kind of have his own little corner to do what he wanted with it. And so backing out on that, would be not only bad optics, but bad business. And you could also, you'd burn bridges and all that. And, or you could try to force him to do it, and then you're really putting a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't make a lot of sense anyway.
And what's just happened when they've forced a director to do something he didn't really want to do?
Sure. So the odds of Pattinson Batman being retconned into a shared universe, again, I think are so minuscule. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I think it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But the other option of like, hey, we need a Batman in the shared universe, that is interesting. I do think that's plausible because he's freaking Batman, right? And so I think it is far more likely that they're like, well, maybe we need to get the Brave and the Bold moving quicker because this is what they want, right? So that I would be less surprised by.
Oh, no, that part makes complete sense. That part I'm actually on board with. It's like, hey, you're announcing all these things. What about, come on, the one that we're all really waiting for. What about Batman? That I agree with. But trying to force it with the movie that's already there, no, absolutely not.
Right. And so anyway, we have no answers, but it's definitely more of a watch this space thing where it's like, if we start hearing news about the Brave and the Bold really soon, right? Early next year, that starts picking up steam. I think that will be very telling and very interesting. The only thing I can add to that is Andy Muschietti was at the Joker premiere, so that was kind of cool.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, I remember that he appeared, like, I couldn't remember what it was. I thought it might have been the Batman getting the star on the Walk of Fame thing, but I knew Andy Muschietti did appear somewhere recently to be kind of like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still with the DC gang. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool just to see him around and at a official DC function, but it has been quiet. And I don't know if it's because the Penguin was coming out and they didn't want to in any way compete with that or take away from it or make people question, or maybe they're just not ready. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons that things could not be going on. But again, if we start hearing things about the Brave and the Bold ramping up, I think that will be telling.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I'm all for it, obviously.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, give it to me sooner than later. I'm ready. But yeah.
I'm excited for Superman. I'm legit excited for Superman. I'm looking forward to Supergirl, Lanterns and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, look, it's a new DC universe. I'm here for it. But honestly, it's kind of marking time till they get to Batman for me. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get it, and I want it. And then we also mentioned it briefly on the last episode, where they're now doing this animated Robins movie.
Yes.
Dynamic duo. So how does that play in? We shall see. Because that was surprising, but cool and interesting, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, which is how I felt about the Teen Titans thing too. It's like, cool, if you've got a movie to tell, great, but still not the one I'm hanging out for.
But at least with Teen Titans and Dynamic Duo, we get to see some Robin.
That's true.
At least we're getting closer. Well, we'll see. Anyway, that's it. That's what I got as far as what's happening out there in the DC universe. Interesting times, but looking forward to more. Anything I missed?
Not that I can think of.
All right, cool. Well, as more things hit, we will talk about them here as time allows. But first, we got to check in with you, fine feathered finks. Let's crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Derek. What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, we're going to do some. We're probably not going to do them all just because we got other things we got to do, but that's okay. I like saving some for next time. First one here, it's from our pal Tom Fallows. It says, "Hey guys, I feel like my last question was a bit of a sassy anti-Reeves verse, so I'm going to ask you a fun one. Do you guys miss bat ropes? Like just a rope with a grappling hook, no gun. They used it in Batman the Animated Series, the Schumacher verse, and Batman 66, and I do kind of miss seeing Batman swinging along the Gotham skyline with just a rope. Maybe it makes him too Spider-Man, but I miss it. Anyway, have a great podcast, Tom." Thanks, Tom. Interesting but random question. I'm here for it. Brendan, do you miss bat ropes?
I miss them how they were used in like Batman Begins and stuff. I don't miss them how they were used in Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Where like everything, like there were hints of it there in Batman Forever, but everything was bat roped in Batman and Robin. It was a bit insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like used correctly. Yeah, I'd like to see it again. Like I'd prefer that than a chipmunk glider suit. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you did it. You went there. I would say yes. I never really thought about it because I feel like the grapple gun bat rope is close enough. So I don't mind if he uses a grapple to shoot the rope as opposed to throwing a
He's not
batarang.
going to throw a batarang, but yeah, you got to have the grapple gun there.
But I mean, if you listen to me on other podcasts, one of my favorite things in adventure movies is when characters swing. And so, yes, more Batman swinging, absolutely. Fortunately, we're getting a little bit of that on Caped Crusader, and that makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm. I was confused when Jamie first said that Andy will be happy because they're swinging in it. I'm like, what?
Well, I can like more than one kind of swinging. All right, next message is from Carrie Vanderberg, who I think is taking the trophy away from the Objective Geek with controversial emails.
Okay.
I think Carrie's doing that. I don't know if this one counts, but I just feel like the last few have been a little spicy. Anyway, this one says, "Hey guys, I was thoroughly entertained by your review of Joker 2. I'm closer to Andy as I didn't like the first movie at all. What's the point of following the story of a classic Batman villain who is never going to actually fight Batman? Because of that, I knew I wasn't going to see Joker 2, so I didn't mind getting spoiled listening to your show. Based on your review and other negative responses, I now feel oddly vindicated for hating the first movie. It's like people now see what I didn't like in the first one. They just needed the second movie to get there. I don't root for movies to do poorly, but I can't help but feel a weird satisfaction feeling like people finally caught up to where I was with the first movie. The first one seems to be a $1 million accident during a time when the studio lacked any vision. To Andy's point, Phoenix plays a mentally disturbed guy who's been beaten down by society, puts on clown makeup, and kills a few people. Despite the incredible performance, Phoenix doesn't capture the essence of the character, in my opinion. Whereas when I watch Nicholson, Ledger, or Leto as the Joker, my reaction is, yep, that's the Joker. Now that these Joker movies are behind us, what is an aspect of the Joker that you feel like hasn't been captured yet in live action? Here's hoping we also get the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad so we could see Leto's full performance. All the best, Carrie Vanderberg. Thanks, Carrie, for chiming in. And like I said at the beginning, like if you skip Joker 2, you're good. You're good. Here's what's funny, and I don't remember if I said this out loud on the review episode, but I certainly thought it. Is like even when someone were to say like, "What's your favorite Joker performance?" Personally, I wouldn't even include Phoenix because to me it doesn't feel like the character. Maybe that's weird.
I would be with you there actually, and again, as someone who liked it, I can totally see that because and to his point too, like when I say I really like that first movie, I don't like it as a quote unquote Batman movie. And this is why I think the sequel hurts it, because as a standalone Elseworlds one and done, I can look at it and go, yeah, that was a good version of Joker. Like it was a good standalone thing, but they've just gone too far with it now, and it loses that for me. So, but yeah, it's I can see where he's coming from, and I totally get your point too. I don't think I'd include him in that conversation because he's not the Joker. He's
Right.
a Joker, but not the Joker.
Yeah. As for the question, is there an aspect of the Joker you feel like we have not seen or something you want to see in live action?
Yes. I want to see comic book Joker. If you think about it, we've never had that. The closest we've had to that in live action is Cesar Romero, and that's a version of the Joker that's, very much of its time, but doesn't exist anymore. The closest we've had to comic book Joker is Nicholson. Definitely the aesthetic, but even then, like their take on the character was quite different from comic book version. And as great as Ledger was, it was very much very much its own thing. There were little hints and teasers of comic book Joker in there, like announcing crimes in the media and stuff like that. But I want tall, lanky, maniacal laughing, proper green hair and proper makeup. I just want comic book Joker in live action. Is the easiest way to sum it up. Like, we've never had that, really.
Yep. I copy and paste everything you said. I want a Joker that looks like he stepped off the pages of The Killing Joke, who acts like Joker from Batman the Animated Series.
Yes. Yep.
And we've never gotten that.
I don't know. Everyone's just wanting to put their own spin on that character, and it's like, what would be original? Actually doing the freaking comic book, because we've never had it.
The Joker. Just do the Joker. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Here's what shits me, to take your phrase. Jared Leto already looks like the damn Joker.
Yep.
And then they did all that extra crap to him to make him look less like the Joker. And then Barry Keoghan already looks like the Joker. Already. His hair is Joker hair. You don't even have to style it different. He looks like the damn Joker. So what do? Cover him in a bunch of stupid prosthetics so he looks worse than if they just put him in Joker makeup.
Mm-hmm. But just putting him in makeup, Andy, that wouldn't be grounded.
2 Jokers in a row where I'm like, you cast a guy who looks exactly like the character, and then you ruined it. What did you do? Anyway, next message is from Skip Richards. It said, "Hey guys, I hope all's well and everyone's enjoying spooky season. It's been years, since I've..."
Sorry, I'm just laughing at how angry that made both of us.
Well, because I get it. It's like, anyway, it says, "It's been years, since I've emailed, but I thought it was time for a chat. I've been keeping up with the Penguin series, and to be honest, I've enjoyed it more than the Batman film. Coming in this show, my understanding of the thoughts of the particular universe by everyone, my question is, with the reception of the Penguin, how do you think the Batman 2 could bring the focus of the universe back to Bruce, when at this point the audience has invested more time and effort with Oz and his supporting cast? Personally, I feel the success of the show without Batman could be a detriment overall, to the franchise going forward, and I'd be curious of everyone's thoughts. Sorry for the long email, but this finally ignited me to send a message. I look forward to the conversation. Best regards, Skip Richards." Thanks, Skip. Interesting. I hear what you're saying. I'll let you answer first, Brendan. Do you feel like the shift to Oz in the show is going to be a detriment to the overall franchise in trying to get it back to being about Bruce or Batman?
Interesting, because I have been keeping up with the Penguin. I know you haven't watched anything past the pilot. I'm loving it. And, again, it's no secret how I feel about that first movie. I'm loving this show. Man, it's addictive. The story, at the end of every episode, I'm just like, I need the next episode now. I need to see where this is going, what's going to happen. and I think I said it to you. I don't think I said it in the group chat. I think I said it to you the other day in one of our private messages. I'm not missing Batman in this show at all. And that to me speaks volumes about that first movie. That, you know, I'm watching this show of this secondary character from that movie. That secondary character was my favorite character from that movie. And I'm watching a series about him, and I'm not missing anyone else from that movie. I'm not missing Gordon. I'm not missing Batman. I'm not missing Alfred. I'm not. And I mean, I don't think it'll be hard to shift back to those characters because the movie will be about those characters. But for me, depending on how this TV series ends, I'm going to be more interested in what Oz is doing than what Batman's up to. That'll be my draw card to get me in. And depending on what characters they choose to use, who the villain's going to be, like, you know, there could be some books that make me go, okay, like, you've piqued my interest. But yeah, like, the show's awesome. I was lukewarm on the movie, but absolutely loving the Penguin show. So take from that what you will.
All right. I think to Skip's question, I'm not concerned that the movies will no longer be about Bruce or Batman. I'm really not, because Matt Reeves just recently essentially said that, right? He said that no matter what villains I bring into the sequel, it is my top priority to make the movie about Bruce's journey. And I do believe him, because based on the first movie, like, I do feel it is very much focused on Bruce and Batman, and I have no reason to doubt that he wouldn't do the same for the second. So I think the whole point of doing a Penguin spinoff show is so you can dive deeper into Oz without taking away from Bruce in the movies. You're allowed to do it because he gets his own show. He gets the spotlight here, and that way you're not taking time away from Batman in the movies. So, yeah. All right. Next question here is from Benjamin. It says, casters of the Pumpkin Bat Pod. Regarding the Penguin and similar shows and movies, Andy, you perfectly put it when you described 2019's Joker as a character study about mental illness, but the guy happens to put on clown makeup, and so you can call it Joker to make $1 billion. I call it the Pennyworth problem. But it's the same thing, making up stories and characters that have nothing to do with the world of DC, but you slap a DC label on it just to make money. In the case of the Penguin, I love it as a gangster series, but as far as a Bat fan, it drives me nuts. I submit to you the Pennyworth problem has gotten to the point of a moral question. It sounds dramatic, but it's also tangentially similar. It's tangentially, yes?
Yeah,
tangentially. Whatever. Similar lines with forbidding AI in filmmaking. It becomes a question of should, not can. Since Gotham back in 2013, we've had 2 Joker movies, Gotham Knights, Pennyworth, and now the Penguin. Is it right for comic creators to have their characters and universes used in name whenever profitable and convenient, but then throw the rest of the essence of the character in the trash? The straw that broke the camel's back for me was a podcast interview from one of the cast members of the Penguin. They described the table read for the first episode and how many of the cast agreed it was the most elaborate, expensive table read they had ever attended. For example, the Batmobile in the background of the table. You have the money for the Batmobile at your table read, and you're spending it on a mob show that for 3 episodes only mentioned Batman once as part of a recap. You never would have had this level of budget for a run-of-the-mill mob show, but with the shiny DC label, now you're flush with cash. So what do you think? Has it become a question of right and wrong? Have we gotten to a point of ethics, or am I overreacting? Thanks for reading my bat rant, Benjamin. All right, Benjamin, that's a lot. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. It was so much that something fell off my desk. Brendan, what are your thoughts? Do you think that...
I wish there was a third person that could take this one first.
I mean, do you want me to go first? I don't mind. I always want to give you a chance.
You start, and I'll chime in if I. Yeah, let's just discuss it rather than take turns.
Well, I guess what I will start with is I understand your frustration, Benjamin, and I do get it. Because to your point, if you look at all of these projects that they slap a Batman name on, even though the projects are barely Batman projects.
Batwoman's another one too that I don't think he mentioned. Like Batwoman's another
Yeah.
Batman adjacent show that doesn't have Batman in it.
So I get the frustration and it gets to be a lot. I wouldn't go so far as to say it is an ethical or a moral issue because at the end of the day, it's their IP. They own it. They own the names. They own the characters. They're allowed to do what they want with it. I wouldn't call it unethical. I would call it short sighted. I would call it risky because you are watering down the brand by using it to try and sell so many projects that it ceases to be less special. So ethically, I mean, if you think it's unethical, that I respect that. I wouldn't go that far because again, IP is the world we're living in, and I honestly can't blame them for that. But how many people have we heard over the past 10 years of being like, DC has more than just Batman or whatever, and we love Batman. We love Batman content, but when there's this kind of content where it's like we're making a show about young Alfred, and I know you liked it, Brendan, and even I liked
I liked the first season. It got a bit crazy, but yeah, the first season was good.
I mean, Teen Titans Go made the joke, right? They're making a movie about the utility belt. They're making a movie about Alfred. They're making a movie about the car, right? And it's a joke and it's funny, but it's also true. But I think that the problem is what's the phrase penny wise and pound foolish is by watering down the Batman IP by using it to sell so many different kinds of projects. It makes Batman or his world less of a big deal. We've had questions not that long ago of like, hey, can there ever be Batmania again? And the answer is yes, but it's much harder to make Batmania again when you've got a Penguin series that doesn't feel like a Batman series, and you've got 2 Joker movies that don't feel like Joker movies, and then you have Gotham Knights, which is about Batman's adopted son you've never heard of before, and you've got Gotham, which is about everyone but Batman. Like, when you do so much of that, like, you're really just kind of stretching, I think, the patience of your audience, and sometimes less is more, and I think that is the bigger point.
And I think they're overthinking it as well. I mean, how many seasons of watching season 4 of Superman and Lois now. So Superman and Lois has been going on for like 3.5, 4 years, give or take. I don't understand how we can't have a cool Batman show on TV, but then there also be your big screen Batman. I know that shared universes are the thing now, and I'm still very much that way of a 90s frame of mind where they could have released a Superman movie on the big screen, and I could have watched Lois and Clark every Tuesday night at home, and I'd know that they're 2 separate things, and I'd enjoy both of them equally. I don't see why they need to stop, why this needs to be the last season of Superman and Lois when, the James Gunn movie's coming out next year. I would have no problem with there being the Superman movie and a really good Superman TV show that I can check in with weekly for, 3-4 months of the year. They can do that with Batman. They just can't, or not can't, sorry, they just won't, or think that they can't, maybe, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can do it. You can give us a cool quality Batman show. Not so much like a CW quality. You could maybe up it a little bit more. Maybe like a Titans, like Netflix Max quality show of Batman. That it only needs to be 8 episodes. It doesn't need to be like a 20-something episode like the CW shows used to be. A streaming series every 18 months. It's 8 to 10 episodes that could do a story arc from the comics that, that's not tied into the movies at all. And, make one of those series instead of 7 series that are loosely based around this one character that you don't put in the show. I don't know why they just don't do it, to be honest.
Well, I think you just hit on it right there at the end. Because what you're talking about is like, there's no reason Batman can be on the small screen and the large screen. And I agree with that. But I think that they think they're protecting their IP by going, okay, you can do all these shows that are kind of about Batman, but Batman can't be in it because we got to protect him for the big screen. And it's like, no, you're just annoying people then with all these other shows that are like loosely based around Batman, but you're not actually giving the people what they want. Like, you're doing more damage than good and you're not protecting anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, like, they didn't freak out when Smallville was running when Superman Returns came out.
Well, no tights, no flights.
Yeah, but still, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But yeah, it is funny that they're like that the powers that be, whoever they be these days, because it changes constantly, that they're like, sorry, I can't have Batman show up on Titans because Batman's in movies, but you can make these 7 other TV shows based on Batman as long as he's not in them.
But then, like, even on Titans, they introduced Bruce Wayne, who was terribly miscast, by the way, and have scenes with a stunt performer in a Batman costume. It's like, you're halfway there. Just do it. Just commit to it. I don't understand.
Yeah. So again, frustrating is probably a better word for all of this than anything. And it's weird that I would ask for less Batman content because I always want more Batman content. But when it's this type of content, you are diluting your brand. You know, when you release 2 big screen Joker movies that have barely anything to do with the Joker, and then you've got a Penguin show that barely has anything to do with the Penguin from the comic book, and you've got Gotham Knights, and you've got all these things, you're just diluting the brand, and you're only hurting yourself.
Mm. And look, I'm someone who just raved about the Penguin show, and does this make me part of the problem? Because if it was just a mob show that HBO released, I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't. But the fact that it is tied to the Batman world, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I didn't mind the Penguin in the movie, and it's a freaking good show. But again, I wouldn't watch it if it weren't tied to Batman. So
it worked.
Right?
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Well, and that's just it. Is like, it works enough of the time that they're not going to stop doing it, right?
Then, I guess the difference is that show is part of an established Batman universe, whereas all these other ones were doing their own thing, just using the Batman IP as an in. Like, I never watched Gotham Knights. I watched a bit of Batgirl and gave up on it. Like, I guess that's the difference between the Penguin show and these other outliers, is it's actually still tied to something that Batman is in, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it does. And that's actually very valid. And I'm glad you said it, because at least that is connected and a spinoff from the current Batman movie franchise, which feels less
egregious.
Yes, thank you. It feels less egregious than some of the other examples that we've been using. So agreed. And again, it works enough of the time that they keep doing it, right? Joker 1 made $1 billion. So they're like, see, who cares? It worked. People went. People liked it. It made money. Who we hurting? And then Joker 2 crashes and burns, right? So like it, the Penguin, people are watching it, so it is a hit for Max, so it worked.
You can only pull the taffy so far though, because again, using Joker as an example, like that one time it worked, and for the CW, like Batwoman. I mean, I didn't watch all of it, but it got 4 seasons or something. Like,
I think so, and it could have gone longer if Ruby Rose didn't quit.
Well, she only was in the first season. Like, it had its success to a degree, and they're like, well, let's do Gotham Knights, and then no one watched it because who cares? Like, they stretched it too far.
Yeah. Yep. True.
Yeah, like I don't understand how you can't have Batman on the big screen, a Batman animated show, and a Batman live action show, and that's the beauty of it's not the old model anymore. It doesn't need to be something that runs for 23, 24 episodes. That's again pulling the taffy too far. Like all the CW shows, like they could have been so much better if they were only 10 episodes, and you didn't have all the filler episodes and soap opera bullshit in there as well. And I'm someone who liked those shows. But, with the model now, every 2 years, year and a half, whatever, a solid streaming show that's not tied to anything else, why not? You'd be giving the people what they want, and a quality Batman show that actually has Batman in it. Heaven forbid.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if we solved anything, but lots of thoughts there. And he said he was looking forward to the conversation, and that is a conversation for you. I got plenty more emails here. I'm going to go ahead and close the mailbox, though. We'll get to those next time. So thank you to everybody who has written in. If we didn't read it this time, don't worry. It's still sitting here, and we'll just get around to it on the next episode. I also should warn you all, because the new baby is coming home any day now. We have one episode in the can that I will release when I feel I need the break because of baby time. So just be aware of that. But, right now I've got backup at home. My mother-in-law's here. So she's, so we'll see what happens with the show, but I just appreciate everybody's patience and understanding depending on, the current recording schedule, and how it might be a little irregular for a while with the new baby in the house. But that will do it for this episode. Brendan, it was fun. It was great catching up. It was great chatting. It was great going on tangents. It was great getting fired up. It's what we do.
Yeah, we had a bit of everything in this one, didn't we?
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I like those, though,
Yeah.
Just see where it goes.
No, I absolutely agree. It was good to get behind the mic, especially when, I knew what was happening in the real world, so I wasn't expecting to get behind the mic so soon, to be honest.
Yeah, well. Anyway, anywhere we can keep up with you?
Only on Facebook in the Real Fans group, because I made a moral stance a week and a half ago and deactivated my Twitter X account and deleted the app off my phone. So you will no longer find me there. I just Elon Musk can suck, what? I morally couldn't be on there anymore. I'm like, nah, I'm out. See ya.
Yeah. I have not been on for months, and I'm okay with that. But anyway, and also Letterboxd, right? You're still doing
I'm on Letterboxd. Yeah, you can follow me on there. I always forget about that as being an actual social media thing. It's more for my own records than anything else.
Same, but it technically is there. But anyway, cool. Well, we've only got oh my God, is it less than 2 weeks left of Scarathon? Oh, I don't want to think about it.
And before you know it, it'll be Cheerathon.
I know, it'll be Creature Commandos-a-thon. They better have a Christmas episode.
Festive season like Creature Commandos.
Awesome. Well, I already told you guys where to follow me. Thank you as always for joining us, for downloading or streaming the show. Please do follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Something else that you can do to help us out that doesn't cost a penny. All it does is cost a moment of your time, is just rate and review us. A 5-star rating would be greatly appreciated, make us feel good, and it really does help us out. So that would be awesome. Please and thank you. Again, find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Holy BatCast. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox for next time, or maybe the time after, you can send those emails to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And that will do it for this episode. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate you. See you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
Nope.
What was that? You okay?
Oh, did that come through, did it?
It came through, whatever that was.
Sorry, I just moved my computer over a little bit so I could turn the fan on.
Okay, that's all right.